And we're ready, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. And welcome to our Tuesday, August 6th, 2024 meeting. I don't have a list of the Olympians in front of me, but I understand Summer McIntosh has won yet another gold medal, and our soccer crew made it through to the round of 8, unfortunately, or was it 16? Fortunately, their good luck stopped, but they overcame quite the sanctions, so we're proud of all of our athletes to win or lose. Moved by Deputy Mayor Lang, seconded by Councillor Jaworski. Be it resolved that the August 6, 2024 council meeting of the Township of South Glengarry now be open at 7:03 p.m. All those in favor? Carried. Please rise for the singing of our national anthem. Singing O Canada reminds me, I should have said great Highland Games put on by our northern neighbor. We were all there. It was certainly warm, but always fun. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, we'll move to the approval of the agenda. And you had mentioned it can be administratively. Are there any amendments to the agenda otherwise? Okay, moved by Councillor McDonnell, seconded by Councillor Bougie. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of South Glengarry approve the agenda as circulated. All those in favor? Carried. Approval of previous meetings minutes. Moved by Councillor McDonnell, seconded by Councillor Lang. Be it resolved that the minutes of the following meetings be adopted as circulated. Previous regular council meeting, July 15th, 2024. Special council meeting, July 29th, 2024. All those in favor? Carried. There was one item. Did Councillor Jaworski, did you wish to pull something out for discussion? Did I see an email about that, or was I wrong?
Oh no, you are correct. Thank you, Mayor McDonald. I'm sorry. Did that?
Yeah, we'll just it will be as circulated. But what would you like to pull out, just so we don't forget?
Okay, thank you. I was asking to pull 10B and 10C. So 10B is the streetlight upgrade summary, and 10C is the regional waste working group update.
Okay. So as nothing has changed materially, we'll still go on with the.
My apologies. Thank you for catching that.
No, that's fine. All of a sudden, I forgot that's my job to chair the meeting, and I missed that. Action request 7A, award RFP 11-2024, sewer rehabilitation. Mr. Sege.
Good evening, and thank you, Mr. Mayor. This evening, I am bringing forward, as you mentioned, the staff report for the award of the RFP for the sewer rehabilitation. It's a fairly large job that was put out for RFP. It's 10 CCIP spot repairs, as well as 21 leaks below grade that need to be chemically injected. All these deficiencies were noted within our CCTV work last year. So we're looking at wrapping up as much of the class 4 and 5 repairs as required. So we went out for an RFP on this one. We did receive 4 bids in total. Out of the 4 bids, 3 contractors had reached out for all the videos to review for both size, flow, the extent of the repair that's required. As these are all throughout the township, we're not just in one location for this. We're jumping from street to street to try to get all the, like I said, class 4 and 5s out of the way for repairs that need to be completed. This will help our infrastructure and infiltration. So we are looking at awarding this one to Clean Waterworks with the price of 127,807.50. We did review the low bid, and the low bid in this scenario did not reach out to get the required information to put the bid together properly in order to make sure they complete the work as required, as each repair is different in nature. So if council has any questions, I can take those at this time.
Okay, Councillor McDonnell and Deputy Mayor Lang.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, and thanks for the report, Mr. Seguin. I do struggle paying $30,000 more if the applicant were, perhaps like you call maybe a fly-by-night corporation. I think in this case, the name speaks for itself. I don't know that I could live with going 30,000 over on a project that's already that's already over budget as far as what we were hoping for in total. I'd either like it deferred or see a little more justification as to why. Perhaps they're fairly confident in their abilities. I don't know. Maybe they found one of our reports online or something that they felt was sufficient enough to determine that bid, but I'd like a little more acknowledgement to that.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Lang.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through you. Similar to Councillor McDonnell, my question, Mr. Seguin, if this company didn't review everything, I mean, is that not on their head? If they still would they not have to perform all the work to our satisfaction at the estimate that they provided? I just want to make sure that there's not something in there that allows them to go over their bid if things are more than what they think. But I mean, to me, it's their problem if they didn't review it carefully enough. But I just want to make sure your opinion on that. Like, if we were to award it to GFL and they said, oh, it's more work than we thought, are they not committed to do it at the 104,000 or whatever it was? To me, that's kind of on their head.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, so part of the process here that when we went out for the RFP on this one was that we, like I said, each repair, it has a little bit of a different scenario to it. Some of them are cracks, some of them are breaks, some of them might require, for example, a cutter truck or to be cleaned prior. So hence why we recommended that the bidders for this one would get the documents and the videos to review before submitting a quote. I do not believe that they should come back at us for any extra work. There's nothing in the RFP that says, we did request CIPP spot repairs at 3 meters, 1 meter, and 2 meters. They did quote it, so it's just not my recommendation this evening at this moment.
Okay, and within our scoring matrix was taking or the obligation to take the video and make an educated bid to us. Was that a scoring included in the scoring matrix?
No, not with this one, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, so in that regard, I guess we have here that Councillor McDonnell would like potential deferral. Mr. or Deputy Mayor Lang is kind of along the same opinion. Is there any thoughts, Councillor Bougie?
Thank you, and through Mr. Mayor, thank you, Mr. Sege, for the report. And honestly, I don't know how that company would have came up with a reasonable bid without reviewing the documents and the inspections and the video and whatnot. So like, I know Deputy Mayor Lang had said, well, they're on the hook, but I'm like, I don't, maybe they don't even know what they're getting themselves into here either. So I'm kind of very hesitant to go that route. I know Clean Water Works has done work for us in the past. Maybe Mr. Say can confirm that. And I know we have obviously some infiltration leakage and it's been an issue. So I feel like that needs to be addressed like quickly. So that's just my thoughts on this.
Okay, so just to follow up on Councilor Bougy's question to you, would deferring this to our September meeting put it out of the realm of quickly? Because that seems to be important to Councilor Bougy. Mr. Sege?
So through you, Mr. Mayor, I would just have to reach out to the contractors going forward and let them know that we have deferred it this evening and we'll be coming back at another council meeting.
Okay, Councilor Jaworski and then Councilor McDonnell.
Thank you, through you, Mayor McDonald. I have no problem siding with Councillor McDonnell if he'd like to defer this to get more information. I can totally understand why he would be less than comfortable on moving forward. My question though at this point is, do we have information that GFL has done similar work to what we're having done here locally? I know that's often something that's looked at in these RFPs, but I was wondering if that was looked at all or because they were eliminated sort of based on that one criteria, if that wasn't looked into.
Yes, so through you, Mr. Mayor and Councilor Jaworski, they were eliminated at the front end for not reviewing any footage.
And just to be sure, we'll go to Councilor McDonnell in a second. That was not in the scoring matrix. That was an administrative recommendation. Okay, thank you. Councilor McDonnell.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I appreciate staff taking it's a bit of a drastic measure, but if they felt that was necessary at the time, but I really would like to see this deferred for a little further review. So if that would be possible, if council would oblige me, I'm not opposed to even if we come back in a week and a half and do a special meeting. I mean, quickly virtually if it's required, but I would like to see this investigated a bit more.
Okay, it seems there's strength amongst council to do that, so we'll likely take that decision just to be sure, Councilor McDonnell. So we come back with or administration comes back with the right amount of information. What in particular are you looking like? What would be the outcome, your ideal situation?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I think if we saw some evidence that there was they have done similar work with neighboring municipalities or within the Eastern Ontario, that would be for me sufficient enough to say go ahead. Or if it's possible, they perhaps reviewed some documentation. If we make a review of what documentation we have that was either presented at a former council meeting at budget or within our current or what's available currently on our website would be, I think, sufficient enough for myself just to say that maybe there was a bit of investigating done on their side.
Do you find that possible, Mr. Sege?
So through you, Mr. Mayor, I can definitely reach out and confirm how they put their bid in, if what they reviewed to put the bid in, and we can definitely come back to council.
Okay, great. And just some of the wording in that, it did say one of two, like the step one of two. If we were to take step number 2 of 2, would we have enough budget to do that in year, or was that a multi-year plan? Just like perhaps I missed something.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, we broke down the sewer rehabilitation into 2 separate ways of looking at the work this year. So this one required multiple trucks on site as well as a camera crew. The camera crew was able to watch what they're doing underground as well as record it for us for the future, because we're not on site to inspect it as they're doing it. So we need to review the footage after the work has been completed. Just because it's all underground. So the second one is the next staff report that I'm bringing this evening. and it's dealing with the manholes, right? So because we don't need a camera truck on site, we were hoping to look at some savings using local crews.
Okay, thank you. And perhaps this deferral may lead to 20-some thousand dollars more savings too, which would be great for the municipality. So we don't have deferral on this. Madam Clerk, would it be safe to say postponed would be the word I can use?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, we didn't put the motion on the table yet. So a simple motion, if Councillor McDonnell wanted to make it, just to defer the item would suffice.
So then I'll use, I believe Deputy Mayor Lang was the second to speak, leaning towards deferral. So we'll say moved by Councillor McDonnell, seconded by Deputy Mayor Lang, that we defer the award of RFP 11/2024, the sewer rehabilitation. Is that sufficient?
Perfect.
Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you, Mr. Sagan. And sorry for not reading the motion first. That's a little faux pas on my side. So I will do it for manhole grouting and chemical injection. Moved by Councillor Bougie, seconded by Councillor McDonnell. Be it resolved that staff report 2024-86 be received and that council authorizes the Director of Water and Wastewater to award the work as specified within the RFQ for manhole grouting and chemical injection to Hydrocam in accordance with their submission in the amount of $57,375, excluding HST. Mr. Sagan.
Thank you again, Mr. Mayor. So as you just mentioned, we are looking at also completing 15 manhole repairs within the collection systems of Green Valley, Lancaster, and Glen Walter. Lancaster having more. So as I just finished saying in the last one, we broke down the sewer rehabilitation work into two separate quotes this year, hoping to look at savings. Once again, looking at the two contractors that did submit prices, very, very reasonable within reason of each other's quotes. This one here, we would be looking at awarding it to Hydrocam at $57,375. But obviously the staff report here is written a little different as you also just mentioned, just due to the fact that we're no longer going to be, if we're deferring at the moment, we still have that our budget at the moment. So this one here, as it was the second staff report, I was saying we had some overages and we'd be looking for some additional funds in order to complete the work. So acceptance of this one would be accepting Hydrocam's bid at $57,375. And if council has any additional questions.
Are there any questions of council on this? Councillor Jaworski?
Thank you, through you, Mayor McDonald. So I understand that you separated it in hope of receiving some savings. And the results were not as positive as we had hoped. If you were to do it again, do you think it would still make sense to separate them? Or do you think, because I know there's only the two bidders, so maybe we wouldn't have gotten at those other bidders regardless, but just curious to your opinion on that.
Thank you for the question, and I can definitely answer that one through you, Mr. Mayor. This one definitely was the higher item, like from over budgetary purposes on my side. I definitely expected more in the range of, I'm going to say half of that, 30,000 to do these 15 manholes. I'll say 45,000 is where I expected to be on this one. I did at the high end, so 30 to 45. I definitely did not expect it to come in at the $60,000 range. So I definitely potentially going forward, if we were to do this in a future year, definitely putting them together, we might definitely see either a savings or very similar numbers. But like as I mentioned, both in the last RFP and this quotation one, both the companies that are coming in very close to each other, they have reviewed all the work, they have reviewed all the footage, and they have both completed work for the township in the area before. So they're very good contractors to work with, and Hence why I'm recommending both these this evening.
Okay, and on behalf of council, we do appreciate when we try different ways how to save money. Like, we're not always going to hit, but we do have to try. And anytime we try something, give a good review. Are there any further questions around council? Okay, I had read the motion. It's for $57,375. All those in favor of the motion is read. Carried. Moving to set the 2025 budget dates, I believe our CEO, Mr. Robertson, will be coming on. I do need a mover and a seconder, but I think if I'm just before, because we might amend it. These are recommended dates, if I recall. So before doing that, did people check these dates? Do they work out? I know that there was some favor. It was December 6th in particular, and we can always set a second date after that. That's, I think, why maybe a little discussion on what date works before bringing it with a mover and a seconder. So did December 6th work for people? At the very least. Thumbs up from Martin, or Deputy Mayor Lang and Councillor. Okay, Councillor Bougie, you had your hand up, or thumbs up? It worked?
Sorry, through you, Mr. Mayor, there's no time. Like, is this the whole day? Is this afternoon meeting? I was just curious that way.
I think right now we would schedule the day as a whole. Like, I don't know if we'd start at 9. This is likely on a work day for you, I imagine, but it is, aside from the election, one of the 4 big meetings. So I'd hope you could set aside some time. I'm hoping at the end of the year.
Oh yeah, it's definitely doable, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted some clarification on it. Thank you.
I know in the past we've had them at 9. We've also had them at 1. So it'd probably be one of those 2 times, but we'll let administration determine that as we get closer, just trying to get the date. The December 20th date, I almost feel like crossing it out because we can make that date available for a second one. And hopefully get it done in 1. We were pretty efficient this year. I'd hope we could do that again, but if we have questions, we can probably look at the December 6th date and determine the next date within the next 2 weeks anyway. Does council have misgivings towards that? Councillor Jaworski?
I mean, I'm fully optimistic that we can get this done in 1 day. And the 6th would also be a work day for me, but I have no problem taking that off to do budget. But it's much easier for me when the alternate date is, even if it's just penciled in as tentative, I mean, a second date, if it's just penciled in, it's much easier for me if it's penciled in with firm pencil, rather than saying, oh, if we run late on the 6th, that we need to try and come up with a date at that point. So if I'm being clear, we're going to have an extra date. Let's just set it as the 20th now. And if we don't need it, we all get the bonus of having the day back.
Okay, does the 20th work for everyone? It does for me. So I'm seeing 2 head nods. Councillor Bougie, Councillor Jaworski, does that 20th work for you as well?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep.
Councillor Bougie?
Yes, I can make it work, Mr. Mayor. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Then can I get a mover and a seconder to accept the motion as it's read? Moved by Councillor McDonnell, seconded by Deputy Mayor Lang. Be it resolved that staff report 2024-87 be received and that the Council of the Township of South Glengarry will hold special meetings to consider the 2025 capital and operating budgets on December 6th and December 20th, 2024. Mr. Robertson, did you have anything you'd like to add, or we're good to proceed?
Council, in your did a very good job of deliberating on that, of course, and no, that's exactly what we had hoped to ask and recommend of council. So thank you.
Okay, great. All those in favor of the motion as read. Carried. Moving to the resolution in support of Fernwood Estates wine by the glass endorsement. This one needs a mover and a seconder as well. By Councillor Bougie, seconded by Councillor McDonnell. Be it resolved that staff report 2024-88 be received and that the Council of the Township of South Glengarry approve Fernwood Estates Vineyard and Winery request to endorse their application to obtain a manufacturer's limited liquor sales license, sale by the glass, to sell and serve their products to patrons for consumption at their manufacturing site located at 6080 Third Line Road, Banesville, Ontario, legally described as Charlie Sangster's, no, as part lot 17, concession 1, in the geographic township of Lancaster, now in the township of South Glengarry. Mrs. Treverton.
Thank you. And good night, everyone. Through you, Mr. Mayor, I was approached by the owners of Fernwood Estates Vineyard and Winery, requesting council support in the form of a resolution. They are a vineyard and winery that received their winery license, permitting them to sell wine produced or manufactured at their on-site from the rear portion of Sangster Sons store in Banesville. And after, and they began selling it at the end of December 2023. At this time, what they would like is our support in their application to the Alcohol and Gaming Commission of Ontario, which awards such licenses, an endorsement to their current license. So this would permit, it's called a Manufacturer's Limited Liquor Sales License. And commonly people call it sale by the glass for wine. And it's kind of a natural next step for them. It would allow them to provide samples if they want on the site where they manufacture it. It would allow them to host, tastings. It would allow them to partner with other businesses, and they've mentioned a desire to do this, to have events that would attract people into their location to learn more about their products and also promote other local produce for that whole, made in South Glengarry promotion. In order to get to be awarded such extension or endorsement to the license, they do require, in addition to the application form, a resolution from the municipal council, in this case, this council, supporting their application as a demonstration of community support for what they're doing. And that's basically just a requirement. And it's something that in my staff report, I recommended that we support and approve. Any questions? Welcome.
Does anybody have any questions of Mrs. Treverton? Seeing none, all those in favor of the resolution as presented, carried.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
We'll move to bylaws. Just looking for a mover and a seconder again. Moved by Councillor Bougie, second by Councillor McInnell. Be it resolved that staff report 2024-89 be received and that bylaw 2024-50 being a bylaw to adopt the refrigeration plant lockout policy be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and sealed in open council the 6th day of August 2024. Mrs. Harbers, or Ms. Harbers.
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Mayor. This report and bylaw is regarding the lockout policy that we established in 2022. So this policy gets reviewed every 2 years, and it is something that it's required by TSSA, who does our inspections in our refrigeration plant on an annual basis. So we established this 2 years ago, and it was up for renewal. And given that we just have the one meeting in August, it was set for renewal in August. That's why we're bringing it forward tonight. It's my understanding that we may be moving these types of items to operational procedures moving forward, but just because it was, set to be renewed or reviewed, that's why we were bringing it forward. Actually, I believe our CAO Robertson had a few things that he wanted to add regarding this as well, so I might refer over to him right now just to discuss that before council if they have any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Robertson.
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Harbers. And sort of building on that, we've been having a number of discussions among staff about various types of policy, be they operational, be they legislative, be they administrative, and how best to inform, but also not overburden a council meeting, inform council, but not overburden a council meeting. So I guess maybe I can open it up to comments from council on such things. Would council be okay or think it warranted if we did it through some form of an information report, or is council more in favor of truly discussing each one of these policies, operational policies, as they're proposed and brought forward? So
I see Councillor McAnell.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, thanks for the report, Ms. Harbers, and for speaking to this as well, Mr. CAO. I have no problem with this going into staff's purview. At the end of the day, I mean, we hope that you're putting in proper safety policies, but I've worked with policies like this in every commercial situation I've ever worked in. Locking out something, especially electrical, is the first thing you do whenever you have a breakdown and you're going to work on it. I personally couldn't speak directly to the policy. I wouldn't know where to start on a condenser that size, so I don't know that it's my it'd be great if my purview to approve it as safe enough, but if it's good enough for your staff, I'm happy with that. But I can defer to the rest of council as well.
All right, Councillor Jaworski. Thank you.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor McDonald. Yeah, I was questioning why this particular one came, and I think we didn't actually have the discussion the first time it came, but I think generally speaking, a policy like this, where I don't want to say it's very technical, but it is somewhat technical, and I don't think necessarily that is something where council can provide a lot of value in terms of how it should be written. I think council should be providing input on things where there is a lot of nuance, or where there's, different options can be, I think when it comes to lockout, tagout, how it should be done, I mean, the end goal it's fairly black and white how to do it. So I don't think it's the kind of policy that going forward should really come to us, but I don't think that it would be bad to have some sort of document that informed council of the existence of these policies. And there might be other policies also that are safety related, or, so that we know that they're there, and that if at some point council chose to weigh in on a policy for whatever reason, depending on, sometimes unique situations arise. But I think, I think there should be a document so that we're aware of these things, but not necessarily that we need to provide detailed input.
Thank you, Councillor Bougie.
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Mayor. To get back to your question, Dave, I think an information report would be suffice. And again, my knowledge wouldn't be very substantial in this department, but I mean, obviously the TSSA is the kind of governing body, and if we're following all safety protocols, I mean, safety is top priority. So I'm fine with that. I'm fine with an information report to kind of inform us, but again, not drag things on in a council meeting, as you had mentioned. So I'm okay with that way moving forward.
And if council will allow me just a moment, because this is one where I'm not as experienced as, well, all of you on the legislative side. I understand our duty kind of is at the core as board is to direct and protect. And I think, as you're saying, we don't need to have our hands in the business. We do want health and safety to be taken very seriously. So we don't provide much, we don't provide much value towards the administration of it, but I think it should come, and that we should give some thought administratively as to how that comes, because you don't want council not to know what's going on, but you also don't want to burden us with things that we don't really add value to. So I know Quinte West went through a little bit where they had they have their administrative policies and their legislative policies, and they did group them. There was some contention in how that would be brought forward, and I think the admin policies were what some legislators, and I think there was a vote that wasn't perfect. But I think it is something worth moving forward, because as we advance, there's going to be more policies probably that we have to do, and I think that direct and protect health and safety component, we're going to say yes to anything that makes sure that we have a health and safe place to work. So when it comes to that, maybe that's the info report, because Councillor Jaworski mentioned, like, I think she mentioned safety policies. I don't know if we need to oversee them fully, but we support them fully because, like, I think that would be the direction of council. So that's my thoughts would be, I kind of agree with all of council. And it's just how to do it and where you want the scope to go. But if we started with health and safety, I think that's a good spot, because we're generally going to say yes to making a safe workplace. Hopefully I haven't summarized or spoken out of turn. I don't think I misrepresented anybody's thoughts. Okay, all those in favor of the motion as read? Carried.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, through you, the next item, 9.8, I've been advised by staff that this item was supposed to be in consent this evening. It's strictly just for information purposes.
Okay, then we will, did somebody want to talk about that? Or bring it forward as, no? Okay, if that changes in the next moment, let me know, but we're going to 9B. 24th Annual Child Care Worker and Early Childhood Educator Appreciation Day. This one was formally moved by Councillor Bougie, awaiting a seconder. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Lang. Whereas years of research confirms the benefits of high quality early learning and child care for young children's intellectual, emotional, social, and physical development and later life outcomes. And whereas child care promotes the well-being of children and responds to the needs of families in the broader community by supporting quality of life so that citizens can fully participate in and contribute to economic and social life of their community. And whereas trained and knowledgeable registered early childhood educators are the key to quality in early years in childcare programs, in licensed childcare early on programs, child life programs, and full day kindergarten. And whereas registered early childhood educators and childcare workers will be vital to the success of Canada-wide early learning and childcare system. Therefore, be it resolved that October 24th, 2024 be designated the 24th Annual Childcare Worker and Early Childhood Educator Appreciation Day in recognition of the education, dedication, and commitment of child care workers and to children, their families, and the quality of the community, or quality of life of the community. Mr. Bougie or Councillor Bougie?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to kind of bring it forward and, I mean, speak to how important our childcare workers are and ECs are in any community. I mean, any young family that's trying to make a go of it, right? It's a key element to any community. And I know for some families, it's very hard to get childcare at all. And I know the province is moving towards kind of the $10 a day, but if you have a good childcare worker, they're worth a lot more than they're getting paid. I can tell you that. So I just wanted to kind of address that.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Lang.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you. Very happy to see this come forward and fully support it. Just a reminder to everybody, September 17th is the 50th anniversary of the Child Care Center in Williamstown, and hopefully we will, it's just a month before we would recognize this day, so the timing's pretty good.
Thank you very much. All those in favor of the motion as read? Carried. So into our consent agenda, Councillor Jaworski had asked for 10B, LED streetlight upgrade summary, as well as the RWM WG update. Please proceed, Councillor Jaworski.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor McDonald. And I saw Councillor McDonald put his hand up. I think he's probably going to want to speak on this one before I start talking about the regional waste management. But just quickly, through you, I wanted to thank staff for the project summary on the streetlight upgrade. Having summaries like that is very helpful, particularly projects like this that span such a long time and have some scope changes. And I also wanted to thank staff for conducting the resident survey after the work was completed. In the context of resident surveys, the results or the feedback to that surveys are actually overwhelmingly positive. So I think that was an extra step that I really appreciate staff having done. And lastly, this streetlight conversion from regular lights to LED. I mean, it's rare that we have projects where we do an investment that has such significant cost savings. in the end. So I noted in the report, you know, the 20-year net project savings on this conversion to LED is over $1 million. So I think it's really important to highlight. And I'm sure Councillor Maxwell will mention how it's too bad that we weren't able to do it even earlier. But assuming it's okay with you, Mayor McDonald, I'll pass it to him.
Of course, Councillor McIntyre.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Jaworski, for pulling this. It has been a bit of a frustrating project to get through, but it's good to see that it's reaping the benefits right away. And just thank you to staff for providing this quickly. And I think there's, at the end of the day, the streetlights come down to a direct saving, not to the municipality, but to the taxpayers that benefit from them, as they are all charged back as local improvement charge. So it's good to see that that'll go. It's not necessarily just $1 million in our pocket. It's all of the taxpayers and ratepayers in Glenmalter and that are benefiting from these lights, and we're already paying for outdated equipment. So thank you for this.
Oh, it's a good news story for sure. Councillor Jaworski, the next item.
Oh, thank you. Through you, Mayor McDonald. Yeah, I just wanted to be sure or ensure that a couple of items from that the Regional Waste Working Group update were caught by all members of council. So I'm just going to pull that up and just grab my notes. So a couple of things that I think is worthwhile mentioning is that through that working group, they were able to negotiate tipping fees for all the municipalities across SDNG at JFL. So not everyone had them, and some townships had more favorable terms. So now they were able to, you know, negotiate as a group. And now, if we ever were to choose, now we have access to something that's already been pre-negotiated. So I think that's something, you know, that's a real benefit of a working group like this, that, you know, these are things that, you know, they can happen organically, but it's having a group like this where they are regularly meeting and having these discussions. It just makes these things happen more quickly and, you know, in a more predictable fashion. The other thing I wanted to highlight is that the City of Cornwall is planning on going to launching clear bags for their waste. So this is something that is sort of moving slowly throughout the province. There are townships across the province, municipalities across the province that are moving to clear bags. And again, the intent there again is to increase diversion rates to, you know, ensure that what can be recycled will be recycled. So I just wanted to make folks aware of that. I'm sure there'll be lots of discussion locally when folks start seeing that happen. The other item, the last item I wanted to highlight is about the bulk waste, our bulk waste pickup, our large pickup item day that is very much valued by our residents. And I just wanted to mention, you know, in early anticipation of budget, you know, that large item pickup does have, you know, implications to the life of our landfills. You know, if we do it every year, it will reduce the life of our landfills by about 10%. So I think it's something that we might want to put a bit more money towards at budget time to be even more effective, and see if there's things that we can divert. I know that we had lots of mattresses. Mattresses take up a huge amount of space at our landfill because we can't shred them. And it's very difficult for our staff with the compactor to deal with them. And the City of Cornwall has, they deal with mattresses in a specific way with shredding. So maybe this is just off the top of my head, one of these items that maybe we should look at to see if is there a way of sending less items from the large pickup to our landfill, or perhaps, you know, when we organize it with the contractor, to give them tags similar to what they have for regular waste, where they can tag something saying that, you know, this isn't, you know, I can't pick this up for waste. If they could have something that would help identify that they were, in fact, they did in fact go by when when the item was out and to make it more clear for residents why an item might not have been picked up if it didn't meet the requirements, that sort of thing. But all of this takes a bit more money. So I just want folks on council to be thinking of that in advance of when we have our budget discussions at the end of the year. Thank you.
Well, that's fair. We always say don't surprise council, so you've got ahead of that on behalf of administration for that particular department, so I'm sure that's appreciated. Any other comments on regional waste management? Okay, so then we will move to the consent agenda. I'm looking for a move and seconder for this particular one. We'll go moved by Councillor McDonnell, seconded by Deputy Mayor Lang. Be it resolved that council accepts the items listed on the consent agenda. All those in favor? Carried. Please apologize while I write councillor and deputy mayor in front of the names. The confirming bylaw, moved by Councillor Jaworski, seconded by Deputy Mayor Lang. Be it resolved that bylaw 2024-49, being a bylaw to adopt, confirm, and ratify matters dealt with by resolution, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and sealed in open council the 6th day of August, 2024. All those in favor? Carried. Before adjournment, I think I missed this one last year, and Councillor Jaworski made sure I didn't, I think, after the fact, but I imagine there's something on the social calendar this weekend. Is if we're going to say the Williamstown Fair, just the greatest event in the entire world, perhaps. And I would encourage everyone to enjoy it responsibly. I'm sure Warden MacDonald will be making fun of me on the main stage this year because he's quite the jokester. In the effort to speak of positives of the Williamstown Fair, I'm going to put everybody on the spot, and I sometimes say, what are people grateful for around Canada Day? And I think Deputy Mayor Lang spoke last time, so if you want to again, but so I'm grateful for the Williamstown Fair because it brings my oldest and best friends home, and I just enjoy the family and the community of the whole event. Does anybody else have something they're grateful for the fair for? We don't have to, everybody, but I'm going to wait 10 seconds.
I'll go ahead. Yeah, I really enjoy the Williamstown Fair like yourself, and look forward to it every year. It's busy though. I find it very busy. We're already starting. I was down there this afternoon moving bleachers, but it's just a great time to get together with everybody, see everybody, and I think it's the only sad part about it is after the Williamstown Fair, it kind of feels like summer's on its way out.
That's fair.
I just want to add, super grateful for all the volunteers who make it happen. It's could not do it without them, and the amount of effort they put in all year round to do it is just amazing. So hats off to them.
And like you said, Lachlan, it's almost like a reunion to get together with the community, family, friends. Now that I have young family, it's a lot different, but I'm thankful for all those rides to keep my children entertained, and there's something for everyone at the fair, right? So it's always a good time to get together.
Right. So to be Sam or Councillor McDonnell?
Through Mr. Mayor, it's nice to see the community come together and put an event on, and not to bastardize our Glengarry Highland Games as well. It's very similar up there as well. So thank you for recognizing them at the start, and for all the volunteers. I know I've seen some familiar faces there, so it's good. And yes, the fair is excellent for the community and what it brings to all the surrounding businesses and all the for the kids locally. So thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for obliging me, Council. Moved by Councillor McDonnell, seconded by Councillor Bougie. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of South Glengarry adjourn to the call of the chair at 7:51 p.m. All those in favor? Carried. I think the tagline is, see you there at the Williamstown Fair.